Hi everybody and welcome to episode 7. Way later than anticipated for this one, but we were waiting for parts. Things went wrong in collecting of parts and trying to get parts due to lockdown and not being able to travel and so on and so forth. So I didn't want to release a video without having as much content in it as possible. So that's why it was late. So hope you enjoyed this episode. So on with the video. Okay, back bumper on. If you come around here, you'll see now it's fitting quite nice. We got this splitter or diffuser rather. Steve Coakley, if you're watching, thank you very much for that kind donation. When I bought this with the yellow bumper, when I got this, there was no diffuser on it, and Steve messaged me one day saying, "By any chance do you want a diffuser?" And I said, "I do." So that's it. It's nice, and he had it on his drift car, and it had a wider opening for the exhaust pipe, which suits us perfect because that's exactly what we're putting on this. So that's the back bumper on. Lights are on. Boot mats are all in now. Rubbers are on. No, the roof. I'll overlay pictures as I'm speaking about this. There's a new roof on this, but obviously it was put in a shed for. It was in the shed for 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it was. And in that shed, I had a covering, kind of, half covering the roof, but there was pigeons in there and they absolutely shat all over it. So when we took it out and power washed it, and the thing is, you have to be so careful with the roof, putting a jet nozzle on it. So I washed it, and tried to get it off the best way I could. So you'll see in the pictures that, I gave it a good clean, hoovered it all down. There was cat hair on there. I got all that off as well, but it looked really, really patchy, and especially as the bodywork is, really fresh and everything. So fresh now, the roof was going to let it down. So I had some dye that I bought for my E36 roof 2 years ago that I'd never used. And I put that into the small spray gun and started spraying, and it just wasn't doing the job. So I went and I got some concept fabric dye, and it's really, really watery. It's meant to be put on with a trigger bottle, but I actually put it into the small gun and I sprayed the roof, and it's absolutely done a fantastic job. The roof looks like it is absolutely, brand new at the minute. So what I've done as well is I've done those other panels as well in around the doors. I've done the carpets. Seats, we're going to have a look at the seats now. Let's have a look in here. So you'll see the back seats are in. They're given a nice coating of polish there on as well, just to get them up. With the front seats out here. Poor Caleb is tripping over everything here because the place is a mess. Front seats. Now on this, I'll layer over a picture on this as well. Here on both seats, when I bought this car, you see the M sticker. That M sticker that's on the side trim there. Whatever degenerate had this car last had those M stickers glued onto the seat here. And when I bought the seat or the car, the things were rounding up like that. And obviously I took them off. I was fortunate with this one, it came off and didn't leave any glue behind, but this one was really, the glue was just rock solid and I couldn't get it off. So with a lot of playing around, I eventually got it off. I thought I'd have to get a new piece stitched in here, but we kind of got away with it. You shouldn't really see it as much when it's in the car, but we'll leave it. It's definitely good enough to leave rather than taking the seat apart, opening the stitching here, trying to get the same pattern leather and getting it put back in. It's just not worth it. So that came up good. So I'm really, really happy with that. What have we got? Can you see over there? You can see its younger brother. That's the E36 325 Sport I have. Those CSL wheels that are on there, they're 18-inch. They're not their copies of the 19-inch CSL that on the E46 M3. Those wheels are going to be going on this car. And the MV2s, which are out here, they are the original wheels for that car. So they are going to get cleaned up now. The two sets will be sprayed. I'll put that one's original wheels back on it, and the wheels that are on that are going on here, because there was a set of replica motorsport wheels on here, and I love the motorsport wheel, but the problem was with them being replica, the back one wasn't staggered, meaning For those of you who don't know what the staggered rim means, it means the back wheel is slightly wider, and the car just kind of looked, I'll actually overlay a picture here of the car and you'll see what I mean. The back wheel just looks sunk in a bit too much and it just didn't look right. So we got those off, and I think the CSLs will look nice on. Okay, refurbished all the trims here as well, gave them a nice coating. Every piece of trim that's on there all throughout the car has all new quick clips on them as well, and it just means they just snapped in lovely. There's no messing around, and they're all in there. So here we have replace the gaskets around the door, the rubber seals around the door handle there as well. So that's all good. It's really coming together. I have the wing painted somewhere. It's around the place. Let's put the wing on now. So what have we got left to do? We have finish off the interior, which is going to get done today. Windscreen company are coming next week to take the windscreen out because it's broken. There's a split in it here. But what there also is up here, there's a couple of scabs of rust. It's nothing major at all. And I'm going to get those cleaned down. And the last piece of painting on the body here is just literally around the window. And once that's done, I'll call the windscreen company. They'll come back, fit the new window. Obviously I have the scuttle panel here as well. That must be painted. So the windscreen can go back in then, and then we're done, we're good. A couple of bits of trim there to go on, and that's all good. Boot door, we got the boot door, but it's wrong. We got given a boot door for a 4-door, which is wrong. But we have that rectified now, and we have the right boot door on its way. So that must get painted, and that's it. Put the wheels on it, put the boot door on it. Windscreen will be done, and then it's engine and gearbox. So engine and gearbox, come out here and we'll have a look. Now, under here is the engine. This is you come around the other side, can you see it better? This is the 2.8, so this is an M54, an M54 B28 TU, and what that means is it's a double Vanis unit here in the front of it. It's a much more modern engine. It's out of an E39 5 Series automatic, so there's 2 ECUs in it. This is the automatic ECU here, which we won't be using. These are the multi-plugs for its normal ECU, but its normal ECU now is going to get flashed, and it's going to get a thing called the EWS removed out of it, and that's the immobilizer. So we're going to get that taken out of it, and that will allow the car to get to start. But what I'm also doing is, because this car came out of a 5 Series and the wiring loom is for a 5 Series and it's going into a 3 Series, there's some adaptations have to be done. So there's a company making up a direct fit plug-in wiring loom, so it'll plug into this, plug into the ECU, which will then in turn plug into the car, and the engine will work. So we're going to take this next, then obviously we're going to take this flywheel off, because this is for automatic. So we're going to take this flywheel off, and we have, with the engine, we got given a 2-litre block. So we're going to use the flywheel off that. Obviously that's the clutch assembly there, so we're going to put a new clutch on it, put the flywheel on, and I think I have to change the sump as well because it's different. But I'm really not putting any effort into doing anything with the engine at the moment until the wiring loom shows up. But also I just want to get the car totally put back together until such time as we go at this. But really happy with that engine. It came out of a 528 auto, and it's only got 75,000 miles on it, so really happy with that. And that's kind of where we've been, really. It's like, it's been it's just been really slow, tedious work, putting everything back together, you know, putting the roof back on. Like, Caleb and myself had murder fucking hanging the doors, like all these things you just take for granted. You know, it was all slow work, because like even the hanging of the doors, normally you'd see the mark, you know, when you're tightening the nut, and you'd see where the washer was sitting, and you'd be able to go, all right, grand, you know, you go off the old marks. But because when you paint something, all that stuff is gone, so it's kind of all trial and error. So you could spend an hour pricking around with the door, trying to get it to, you know, trying to get it to line up. Lamps. So we've completely renewed all the lights in the front. So we have 2 new headlamps, 2 new clear indicator lamps, and 2 new fog lamps for the bumper and side repeaters. So all the lamps in the front of it are going to be brand new, and it's going to look pretty good. Exhaust wise, I don't think I showed you guys this. No, I didn't. No, this is the manifold that we got. This is a pretty cool looking thing. So stainless manifold for it, because bearing in mind that manifold is off a 5 series. So just in case it wasn't going to fit, I got these 2 gaskets there and 2 connectors. So these are our manifolds. We have cats. Is there cats in that manifold? There is. So there's cats to be plugged in here, so that's fine. We've got provisions there for them. And we have our rear box there. If you look at that there, kiddo, that's the power flow rear box that we bought. That actually came off at 328. So we're using that power flow rear box. We're using these manifolds, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to a power flow center, and we're going to get them to make the bits in between that. So use these, so they'll be welding to these manifolds and using that back box, but also welding in 2 cats as well. Or if we can get away with using a single cat, I'll probably have to use 2, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes, because I want the cats in there, because I just, look, this thing's going to be going for a test every year. It's not going to be doing that much mileage, and I'm not going to the hassle of putting in a decat system and taking it out and, you know, putting it back in for the test. So we're going to have it with cats in it, and we're going to have make sure the fueling is right in it and all of that. So that is that. Otherwise, that is it. It's just the pile of shit that's been here in a mound for the last 6 weeks. It's slowly getting smaller and smaller. So it's literally just trim bits, and to be honest with you, just a good tidy up will clear away most of it. But like once I can get the wheels, on this, and get the wheels of the E36 sorted, and get it off the jack stands for the time being, I might even push it out and just give the gym a good clean before we go at the engine and box. Like the engine and gearbox is literally put it together and have it up in the air. We're going to change over our sump, go through everything. There's aircon on that. I want to take that aircon compressor off, get rid of it, and put on a shorter belt, change the oil and filter and all that. Obviously, you know, we'll be dropping the sump, we're going to be putting new oil in it anyway. Probably do a set of plugs in it as well. Great chance it's still on its first day plugs if it's only 75,000 miles. Because I'm pretty certain they have platinum or iridium plugs in them from first day, which do 60,000 miles anyway. So we'll do all that and just make sure that they're happy with everything, because like once that thing gets fitted in, everything starts to get really tight for space. So the more we can do out while the engine's out, the more we can do to it, the better off and easier it's just going to be. But I would imagine that once the engine actually goes in and sits in, and we start working on putting it together, like there's no reason why it won't be, you know, there's no reason why I won't be finished with it in a day or 2 days, going at that and getting it running. That's, of course, you know, making sure that everything goes according to plan, which it always doesn't. But anyway, that's where we're gonna be very hopeful, because in fairness, like everything so far with the car has gone pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with how things are gone. And then it's a case of just put the front back on and finished. Now, just put a nice coat of satin black on the wheel studs just before we put the wheels on. There's nothing worse than a fresh set of wheels and rusty looking wheel studs. I think it looks awful. So, you know, I know they're going to get marked with the socket when I put them on anyway, but at least they're fresh looking, and you know, they won't be rusty looking. I can just set the wheels off nicely, and rather than painting them silver, I just think having them black looks that bit nicer. So on with the wheels. Really happy with how these turned out. These came off the E36. They're a replica CSL wheel. They're 18-inch. The original CSLs are obviously 19-inch from the E46 M3. But I had them on the E46 convertible that I have, and I thought that with the E36 convertible being as super original as it is, you know, I refurbished its original wheels and I put the car back to complete standard again, because I'm just going to leave that one 100% standard. And I said, right, we'll put these wheels on here, because we did have the Motorsport copies on here and they weren't staggered in the back, and I just didn't kind of like the way they were sitting. So we're going to put these on. We've seen a picture with them on and seen what they look like, so they should sit nice. So we'll see. So this is it down. We got it down off the jacks, off the axle stands. Just pushed it back out of the way and gave underneath it a bit of a clean. And what we're going to do now is put the interior back together. Now, just having a look at the wheels, they look lovely on. You can see it's still sitting quite high there. It's sitting quite high for a number of reasons. Obviously, it's still a lot of weight to go back onto the car. Like in this case, there's the boot door, there's the exhaust, there's the battery, there's the seats, there's the engine, there's the gearbox, there's the prop shaft. So all of those things, if you were looking at a car, even though I put in new suspension and there's lowering springs in it, and you're looking at it going, geez, that's really high. It's not, you know, you can't judge it until all the weight is on it, and then when it's driven, because the suspension has to settle. Because if you think it's been up off jack stands now for 7 weeks, and when it comes down, you know, the wheels would have been kind of doing this, and when it came down, the wheels are kind of like that. And it's actually got to roll, so it's actually got to go for a drive before the wheels kind of jack themselves back out and the suspension settles itself and the right weight is on, before you get an idea of what your actual finished height is like. So as high as it looks in the back at the minute, it won't be like that by the time everything's put back in and by the time it's driven. So I'm really happy with how the wheels turned out. They fill the arches nicely. The offset on these is quite bigger. More stuck out than the standard E46 wheels that we had on the E46. So I was hoping that these would just fill the arches nicely, and they do. To be honest with you, I think 18s is just enough on it. I don't think going 19s or any bigger would have looked right on it. So I'm kind of happy with the choice on that as well. Right, on with the interior. Now I'm just going to put on the steering wheel. We have an original M Sport wheel here going onto it. Now the steering wheel that was on this car when I bought it originally all those years ago was a fucking Sega Rally wheel type thing. It was absolutely hideous. I hated it, and I just never got around to changing it. So I'm delighted now with this that it's finally gone. Now you just got to make sure that that's good. Okay, make sure that this is okay. Out of the way before we fit it. Okay, so we got the key on. Okay, we're okay there. No, we got the wheel pointing towards the wheels pointing dead straight. That's pretty close enough. I would imagine that when we get it tracked anyway, we'll be able to go off that, but the wheels are pointing dead straight ahead anyway. So we're going to stick in the bolt now. Get this top tip. If you stick in your bolt and you want to lock it up, take the key out of the ignition and hopefully the steering lock. Yeah, the steering lock comes on, and you're able to use the steering lock then to put a big bar on. The socket in the bar.
Go.
Right, 16 socket on here now. Bearing in mind I don't want to burst the fucking lock either, so I'm going to go against the wheel. I'm going to give it a pull. Okay, that should be tight enough. Okay. The key back in, take the wheel lock off, the steering lock off. No, straighten it up again. No, airbag. This is a fucking so much nicer wheel than the one that was on it. If you're ever messing around with airbags like this, always make sure the battery is disconnected, because you don't want one of these things going off on you blow you to bits. There's some funny videos of people doing funny shit with airbags on YouTube. But if you ever nothing to do for 5 minutes, you should look at them. See how powerful they are. Okay, no, that goes on there. No fucking painful job of lining those up. That's not going to work with that. I'll have to get a torque head. No, that's got it. That's straight-ish, kind of, slightly off. It'll be okay. Good, right, we'll give that a clean now. I give it a clean afterwards, I suppose. Okay, seats next. Alright, we just gave this wheel a wipe just to have a look at it, and some of them, do you know what, I don't actually know the honest answer to this. I think they were done from the factory. I know people do it aftermarket, but I'm not 100% sure if people do it if it was done from the factory. You can see the stitching on the wheel cover here. You've got the red stitching, and then you've got the blue stitching, and I think that looks really nice. I've seen them before done that way, but I don't know if it's done from the factory that way. But definitely that's a nice little the M colours there. That's a nice little surprise once we cleaned it up, so happy days. Okay, this passenger seat, of course I only did it now as I'm just about to put it back in. I said I better have a look and see what was going on, because when you lift the lever to fold the seat forward to let someone in the back, it just wouldn't do it. So just had a look, and on inspection the cable has cracked, and it will pull this lever, and that in turn then would let the seat fold forward. And this is the little end that's cracked off, so that goes on there, attaches to the cable goes up into the handle here. So I've taken it out, and there's a company in Dublin called Cablecraft, and if I send them this set up now, they'll return it the following day, all new and made up, and we'll be able to put that back. So I'm going to put in the driver's seat. There's actually a spring on that as well, mustn't lose those parts. There's this, so I'm not going to put this one in now. I'm going to wait until that comes back, because that would be just a pain in the ass to do when it's in the car. I'm going to put in the driver's seat now, bolt that in, and that's another job done. I'm going to leave the video here. Hopefully there's enough content in this one for you. Do you know what? I noticed this one was, it's been a couple of weeks since one has gone out, but there was bits and pieces I was waiting for. There was, you know, a week went past where nothing really changed, so it was kind of difficult, you know, to end the video, because I didn't want to kind of end in limbo. But I'm ending it here because it is now time to bring the engine in and put the engine in and start wiring it and plumbing it and putting the gearbox in, and the clutch is coming during the week, and hopefully the next video will be the install of the engine, and hopefully at the end of it you'll hear it running. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and catch you all on the next one.